Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting edition of TNA Impact Wrestling, June 26, 2014. I am, of course, your host of The Wizard 411. You guys can catch me at The Wizard 411, which is my Twitter handle, and you can also follow my Instagram, show a brother a little love. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. You can subscribe down below, and I'll also put my other links in the description just for you. So, on to our actual show. First and foremost, actually, I want to mention the fact that I just came back from some of the TNA tapings that transpired here in New York City. And I have to say, I kind of feel like I'm trapped in this like time loop, this weird like paradox. It's strange because this taping happened about 2 weeks ago, the one that I'm going to talk about now. These are the events that transpired pretty much after our Slammiversary pay-per-view. And now I, ended up watching some shows in New York City, and I'm like, okay, this is weird because I'm kind of seeing into the future. I will, however, not be spoiling the New York tapings. I am going to give them that much respect. If you do, however, want to catch some spoilers, I'm sure you'll find a million of them online. So, on to our actual show. We, of course, open the show with Money, Power, Respect coming out with their new World Heavyweight Champion, Bobby Lashley. They all came out nice and dressed. They were looking fresh for the crowd. That's what they do. They came out with some girls, of course, because now that Bobby Lashley is a champion, it has his gold around his waist. I guess, that accompanies with strange women that have never been on the show before. So that happens, and, pretty much they're talking about how, they're running roughshod and whatnot in the show. Anyway, I don't want to really get too much into that because it's kind of getting boring and it kind of feels like the same thing back and forth. Dixie Carter does announce that there will be a change going on tonight because, as we all know, last week MVP kind of went overboard with his power, and Dixie, of course, has been trying to get him removed from office. So, with that said, she pretty much leaves and says, tonight's going to be a Dixie kind of night. After that happens, we have our first match, which is Terrell and Gail Kim versus the Beautiful People in a tag team match. As we all know, Terrell made her comeback after her 11-month hiatus away from the ring. She had a baby, and now she's back in the Impact Zone. Well, not really in the Impact Zone. They were in Philly, I believe. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this taping happened in Philly. So, the Beautiful People and Gail and Terrell, of course, have a pretty decent match. You have some pretty good female wrestling competitors up in there. I'm kind of glad they started the show with the girls because it's really starting to feel like, I understand it's a male-dominated show and whatnot, and female matches can often seem like filler matches. But like I said last week, give them a shot. They're wrestlers too. At the end of the day, let's give them the respect they deserve. And by opening the show, they did just that. Anyway, to make a long story short, Gail Kim wins via her finishing move, which I don't quite remember what it's called. But if you do know, just leave a comment below, all right? And let me know what the move is called because I don't remember it. Noted that they actually didn't have that referee Stifler in this match, which is why there weren't any shenanigans, and Gail and Terrell were able to get the clean victory on the Beautiful People. So after that, this is kind of where I'm sweating. It's kind of hot in here. I start getting upset because, I'm like, all right, this show's off to a good start. Right on. Let's do the damn thing. And our next match doesn't happen until 9:43. 9:43. You mean to tell me that after the first match, after almost the entire first hour of the show, you don't have another match until 9:43? Come on, Impact. You can do better than this. I believe in you, all right? So start believing in yourselves. Anyway, our next match was actually for the X Division belt. It was Sonata versus Manic versus Zema Ion versus Crazy Steve of the Menagerie. So this match was pretty interesting because they all wanted a title shot, and we had a little backstage segment with the Menagerie talking about that they're broke and they need to pay bills. So Crazy Steve needs to win this match because, of course, only with the gold can you get the money, right? So before they start wrestling, they all gather in the ring together, and they give Sonata the mic, which I didn't expect. And, Sonata's Japanese, so, I'm not really sure how good his English is at this point, but it did sound pretty poor. He just points out all of them, and it's like, you want a title shot. You want a title shot. You want a title shot. you all get the title shots in his like, Japanese accent and whatnot. So we are gonna get a four-way for this belt, which is pretty cool. So as you can expect from an X Division match, these athletes are pretty good. They give a couple of high spots, nothing too noteworthy. It just felt pretty choreographed actually, which I'm guessing is what they do. But it was still a very fast-paced match overall. We had a Crazy Steve. The crowd was really hot for Crazy Steve. Actually, I was surprised. He didn't even really feel like he was wrestling. He was just kind of like acting up in the ring and throwing an occasional move here and there, biting people in the face. Doing his gig, I guess, because he's a clown. DJ Zima Ion, of course, great wrestler as always, and Sonata looking really strong. We end this match when Sonata actually gets Zima Ion in his suplex pin, giving him the victory for this match, keeping his belt. After that, we had a couple of throwaway segments, which I'm not really gonna get into. The only one that I guess is noteworthy and has any actual relevance to the show is when Dixie Carter comes out to announce what's gonna happen with TNA regarding who's gonna be in control. So, of course, we were guaranteed that by the end of the night, someone else was going to be in charge of Impact Wrestling. However, we were not going to learn the identity until the very end, which means that after our main event is when we're actually going to find out who's in charge. I, of course, knew already because I went to the tapings, which is why I said it feels kind of weird. It's like I traveled in time or into the future. But anyway, Dixie Carter comes out with some champagne. She comes out with Rockstar Spud, and they're starting to celebrate because she thinks power is going to be returned to her. The guy from TNA, from the TNA director board, comes out and he pretty much says that I don't know why you're celebrating because you're not going to be gaining this power either. So of course she flips out, gets upset, whatever the case may be. After that segment happened, Bully Ray ran in there real quick, beat up Rockstar Spud, drank her champagne, and said he was going to put her through a table. So he grabs her, and just as he's going to put her in through a table, Spud actually knocks the table over, and then EC3 grabs Dixie and pulls her out to safety. Of course, we still don't see Dixie Carter get put through a table like I expect her to be. The wrestling fans, I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, give us what we want. That's insane. Who does that, right? I mean, we only pay their bills. We only support them as loyal fans. Like, throwing us a bone here and there, it's just absurd, right? Like, who's going to ever do that? So after that happens, we have another match, which is Mr. Anderson versus James Storm. This match was really short, kind of felt filler, even though they had previous beef, and this is a rematch from their Slammiversary matchup. I'm not even going to really call this match a match at all. It kind of felt like James Storm just owned Mr. Anderson. He hits him with the last call super kick, which is pretty impactful, actually. They even showed a replay of it. And, the ref counts 1, 2, 3, giving James Storm the victory. James Storm has a backstage segment with Sonata telling him that, hey, you're Muda's boy. You're the X Division champ, while he's drinking his beer and whatnot. So there's some talk going on with those two back there. Sonata looked upset at him, but then nothing really happened out of this. They didn't assault each other or anything. Moving on, we have another segment where EC3 is calling Spud, and he's like, Spud, you got to come back for me. Like, I'm trapped in this building, Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, you sound like a real wuss. You are this tall, like, solid dude, and you're asking a guy that's like 3 feet tall to come in and save you. I mean, I guess he's the comedy act, but at the same time, we're also supposed to be taking him seriously, right? Of course we're not. But Tommy Dreamer returns after getting kneed in the balls last week by Dixie Carter to get revenge. And he and EC3 proceed with having a rumble backstage. A couple of hard hits. You have Tommy Dreamer hit him with a trash can. He throws like all the food, all the Doritos and bottled water and whatnot, all the banana peels on top of EC3. And then it was really gross because he grabs one of those like half empty Poland Spring bottles and he drinks it. I mean, I guess, Tommy Dreamer is a little out of shape nowadays. So, he needed to drink some water to keep on this brawl. Even though they were just trying to make it seem like he's hardcore and this is what he does. I'm sure that's not really the case. But anyway, I don't really want to diss Dreamer because Dreamer is my boy. He came out last night at the tapings. Really, really nice guy, man. He put us over really well. Super athlete, of course, man. ECW, WWE for a little time. Now he's doing his House of Hardcore promotion. And, I'm looking forward to seeing great things from Tommy Dreamer. So they have a nice little brawl that was longer than your average wrestling match, but it wasn't a match. It was just a brawl, like I said. There was some back and forth with that brawl. And then that was pretty much it. After that happens, we have our main event of the evening, which is Magnus and Bram versus Abyss and Willow the Wisp, the alter ego of Jeff Hardy, in a Monsters Ball match. Now, the last Monsters Ball match left a little to be desired. It wasn't all that at all, but I was still looking forward to it. I'm like, okay, cool, maybe they'll surprise us. Heading into New York, you think they're gonna want some momentum. And I tell you this much, this match delivered. They really did. It was really good. You had a couple of high spots. Jeff Hardy ends up going through this barbed wired wrap table that was like in between the ring and in between the steel railings that hold the crowd back. He just went through it and he was just stuck in there afterwards. He couldn't come out at all. You have a couple of trash can, chair shots, kendo stick hits and whatnot. The average that you'd expect in this type of match. Abyss even brings out Janice, which is that club with all the nails. And he smashes the turnbuckle trying to hit Bram, and it gets stuck in there, which solidifies the fact that those are real nails and not plastic. Or are they? But anyway, I digress. So, to make a long story short, Abyss, he's not in the best shape. I really think that he needs to just take some time off and train, get himself back in shape, because the Abyss that we're seeing now and the Abyss that existed around TNA's emergence is totally not the same guy. He's just lost a couple of steps here and there. He's really slow. He can barely do anything. It feels like I'm watching Hogan or Kevin Nash in a wrestling match, which we should just not be seeing in 2014. But anyway, Abyss comes out and he grabs the thumbtacks. Thumbtacks, that's always cool to see, right? He spreads them all across the ring. He tries to chokeslam Bram, but Bram manages to escape it. He ends up getting Magnus instead. And he chokeslams Magnus on top of the tacks. And Magnus's expression was just priceless. Like, he lost his marbles. This guy was just like, it looked like he was catching a seizure. And then they closed up on his face. Like, his eyes got really teary. He looked like he wasn't there at the moment. He was just thriving in pain. Then they show a close-up of his back. Some of the tacks were stuck on his back. And he had like little droplets of blood coming out, just coming down. And that's what ends up happening. But regardless of Abyss and Willow's efforts, they still lose this match when Bram grabs Janice and hits Abyss in the gut with Janice. Really weak, might I add. He kind of just tapped him with it. And I get that there are nails on that thing, so you don't want to get too crazy on somebody, but that does end up happening. So after that, he gets a pinfall on Abyss, and we have Bram and Magnus as your winners of this match. Before I forget to mention, before I end the show, I also forgot to mention earlier that Bobby Roode and Eric Young did come out and brawled with Money, Power, Respect, who is, by the way, no longer in charge after this announcement that I'm going to make. So, that same dude that came out earlier pretty much said that there was going to be somebody new in charge of Impact Wrestling, and that person is none other than, wait for it, the Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. Yes, Kurt Angle, the TNA Hall of Famer. Yes, Kurt Angle, the Triple Crown winner. Yes, Kurt Angle, the former Olympic gold medalist. Kurt mother effing Angle, right? He's back. He's been doing his video series on YouTube, #MyComeback. You guys should check it out. Each video is a couple of minutes short. It's just pretty much him training and spending time with his family and whatnot. And Angle's a really solid dude, man. I really like Angle. I know I've mentioned it before. He's kind of like my wrestling hero, and I'm really glad that he's getting himself back in shape, and he's still able to be one of the focal points of the show without having to physically get involved. But anyway, so Money, Power, Respect, of course, comes out, and they try to tell Angle, this is not going to happen. I'm still in charge. We're in charge. He's the champ. You got to get out of here. And Angle very aggressively tells him, if you lay a finger on me, I'm going to fire every single one of you. So, of course, they don't touch him because they're C's. Anyway, so that is our show. If you guys haven't seen any of the New York tapings, there is one more show available tomorrow. I don't know if it's sold out or not. I think they have some additional tickets on sale. It's in the Manhattan Center in the Grand Ballroom between 7 and 11 o'clock. So I believe they're going to be having 2 tapings. I, of course, am going to be there. So if you guys want to catch me there, you know, say what's up to a brother, you know, give me a handshake, give me a pound, you want to take a photo, whatever the case may be, I am here for you. I'm here to deliver this content to you. And as always, you guys are awesome. This is our Impact taping for tonight. Don't ever let anyone tell you different.